Wow, this is the movie, the premiere that's on TV1 on Sunday, August 21st. Never would have made it. The Marvin Sapp story, and it chronicles his life from his childhood to now and everything that's happened in between, from tragedy to triumph to tragedy back to triumph. And this is a song, his pinnacle song, Never Would Have Made It, is a song we use as the theme of our Good News Thursday today, and it just really had us all in a beautiful trance. And I want to welcome him to the show for the first time. I'm a big fan of
Wow.
yours. I'm a big fan of yours, and man, welcome
Man,
to the
thank
show,
you.
the legendary Marvin Sapp, the legendary.
Yes.
Brother,
Thank
welcome to the show.
you. Thank
Absolutely.
you. I'm honored. I'm honored. I'm honored. I love it. Love it. Love it. Heather B, Sway, how y'all doing?
Oh
Never
man.
would have made it.
And it's the right key too. You in the
Come
right key.
on.
Oh.
Come
Perfect.
on, Marvin.
Oh.
Come on.
Come on. Don't tell
Come
him
on.
that. Don't tell him
Thank
that.
you. They hate when
He
I
is in the
sing.
right key.
Thank
The
you,
right
brother.
key. Perfect.
Thank you. I
Perfect.
got. Come on, man. Let me ask you something, man. You listen, man. I was in a trance listening to your voice today. We do a weekly segment called Good News Thursday. We started a couple years ago, and we just dedicate it to the Lord and let people tell their testimonies, which is unconventional on a station like Shade 45, a hip hop station, and it's just something folks don't do. Radio programmers advise against it. It's unconventional, but we're moved by the word. And this particular song, I mean, you have such an amazing story to tell, but just particular song, the first time you recorded it, because it wasn't a song at first. You sang it at a church first,
No,
right?
it's
Right?
not. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The only reason why y'all heard it is because my wife nagged me, like just kept nagging, telling me I need to put it on the record. And it just
Wow.
kind of happened. It happened on a Sunday morning, the Sunday after I buried my dad. And
Oh.
we at my church in Grand Rapids where I used to pastor, every Sunday I would get up and we would close out our praise and worship with a up-tempo song called "I'll Praise You." But this particular Sunday, I was just really broken, and I stood up and I stopped the band from playing the "I'll Praise You" song, and I just started singing those words. I never would have made it. I never could have made it without you. I would have lost it all, but now I see how you've been there for me. And God, after this, I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to be wise. I'm going to be better. And it literally just tore my church to shreds. I mean, literally, they just all started screaming and crying and falling out and everything. And we never pulled the worship service back together again. I think I gave the altar call and we ended up going home. And so my wife, she said, Marvin, you need to record that song. And I said, what song are you talking about? And she said, that thing you did on a few Sundays ago. And I was like, that's not a song. That's just something I got up and just sang, and I've been singing it around the house too. And, I was just adamant. I was like, God gave me that for me. This is what I need in this season because, my dad's gone. This is therapeutic. And I'm just singing this song around the house and in the car and, and so on and so forth. But she was adamant, man. She was like, you got to do this, Sonny. I'm telling you, you got to do this. And I'm like, you don't know music. You do business. I do music. Not a song. I was like, I was there. I was like, girl, you crazy. Well, one of the things I did and still kind of do is every time I get ready to record a record for some stupid reason, I always go do a revival someplace for like 3 days
Mm-hmm.
and come back. So I did the revival, came back, and we were doing the live recording of the album Thirsty that night. And Aaron was like, hey, man, the producer said, yo, Lynn was telling me about this song. And I was like, I already told you I wasn't doing that. So after we had like a conversation about it, she won. And I said, okay, what I'll do is I'll put the Never Would Have Made It piece in a medley of songs. And y'all know in the music business, you never put your hit song at the end of your record because people don't listen down that far.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Never Would Have Made It is number 12 or 13. So, the reason why I put in there is like, okay, just to make you happy,
You was throwing it away.
happy wife, happy life. I just was like, okay, fine. So next thing I know, living in Grand Rapids, Michigan, not having, real radio, a year later, it's like the number one hip hop, R&B, and gospel song in the country, and I didn't even know the song was a hit until I sang at BET Awards in 2008. Honestly, and when I'm standing up there singing it, I'm serious. Growing up, we didn't have gospel radio. Our secular radio was on the dusk. So I'm like, okay, fine, it's a hit song, y'all. Like, really? They want me to sing at the BET Awards? Okay, cool. So I sang it, and I'm looking in the crowd, listening to everybody cry and fall out, and people, all these different artists, who I look to in the hip hop and the R&B world. Like, man, this person, that person. And then the funniest part, I got to tell y'all this story. Funniest part is I was on the same floor as Lil Wayne. Never forget it. We had dressing rooms on the same floor. So y'all can imagine that floor was lit, right? It was like,
I'm sure.
It was on, there was an aroma. Let me just
yeah. They burned a lot of candles on that floor. They lit a lot of candles.
It was candle lit everywhere. So fast forward, he walks past me. He said, Rev, that never would have made a joint. That's my S. And kept walking. And I just got tickled because I thought it was the funniest thing I had ever heard. But and I won the BET Award that year, and that's when I found out really that this song was major. 47 weeks at number one.
Come on, man. Won't he do it? Won't he do it?
It is the longest running number one single in music history. Nobody's ever done it. Had a number one single for 47 weeks.
For 47.
It's only 52. It's only 52 weeks in a year.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. So the longest running number one single across musical genres in the history of music business on Billboard, and it's simple. It's never woulda, never coulda, stronger, wiser, better. That's it. That's the whole song.
That's the whole song, bro. And it seems, but as simple as it is, they got a saying in radio that less equals more. And
absolutely.
Right. And as simple as it is, it fills people up every time they hear it. Marvin, man, I promise you, we play this song. I've heard this song over the years. I remember when the Thirsty Project came out. I remember
16 years old.
16, yes.
Wait, it's 16 years old. And I crack a joke all the time. I said when I recorded it, it was the hottest song in the church. And then Johnny Gill sang it at everybody's funeral. And then R. Kelly was singing it, closing out his concerts. And I said, then after that, somebody, started working out to it. And now it's the hottest song in the clubs. So I'm like, 16 years later, it's
on TikTok. It's gone viral on Marvin. It's gone viral on TikTok, bro.
I know, man. I know. And again, it's amazing to me. So I tell people all the time, I thank God for a nagging wife, for real though, because her nagging and pushing and prodding is the reason why people hear this song, and that has been a blessing to so many. So, I never take credit for it. I always give credit to whose credit's due, and that is, Dr. Melinda P. Sapp, the late Dr. Melinda P. Sapp. I'm just honored. This movie thing, that's out now. I'm grateful for that. I mean, because in this I had the opportunity to executive produce, co-write, and star in. So I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
It's a huge deal. Sunday night, TV One, and I'm not going to tell you everything about the movie, but I was very surprised about your childhood. I didn't know about your childhood.
Yeah,
right?
I was a mess.
Yeah. You were a sloppy mess too. Let's just go ahead and say that. You was a mess. But you were, and the kid Chaz Lamar Shepard who plays you too is incredible. Russ Parr directed this?
Yes, sir. Russ Parr directed it. He sure did.
The legendary syndicated radio show traces back to K-Day Radio. Russ Parr.
Yes, sir. That Russ Parr. And Russ did an amazing job of directing this and really capturing, the very essence of, what we wrote. And it's amazing, man. I'm telling you, people ask me all the time, did you ever dream of having a movie done on your life? No. And then never did I dream that. And then not only that, but the real trip is that I told them no initially. It took them 2 years to convince me to do it. And because, the church gets a bad rap sometimes. And I wanted to make sure that, that people get the opportunity to see a positive representation of a preacher for a change, and that all preachers ain't out here doing foolishness and debauchery. That there are some of us, and I'm not perfect. Let me be perfectly clear. I got issues just like everybody else. But I wanted to make sure that I put out a positive representation. But at the same token, I didn't want to lie. I want to make sure that people understood where I came from. That I wasn't perfect. I made tons of mistakes. Made a whole lot of bad decisions, but at the end of the day, I turned it around and I got it right. And if I did it, anybody can do it.
Absolutely. Marvin Sapp has joined us. Never would I've made it. The Marvin Sapp Story is on TV One on Sunday, August 21st. Ace Bizzle, go for it.
Man, Marvin, thank you so much. I often joke with my husband about the time, this was years ago, you were up at Sirius XM with Donnie McClurkin, I believe. I don't know what you guys were doing, but I straight bum rushed the picture. I just jumped in. I know. They all looked at me like, who's this girl? But I couldn't even contain myself because I've been such an appreciator of your music. I'm going back to like Perfect Peace.
You old school.
Oh, old school with it. Sway says I carry around, even though I'm not one of those ladies. He said I carry around an old church lady pocketbook with the leather ripping full of gospel songs. But you know what it was? My grandmother, rest in peace. My grandmother was a Seventh-day Adventist, so we had to go to church on Saturdays, Marvin. Yeah. So I have these songs in my head. I don't know how I know them, but I just knew these songs and I love them. But that's one of the things I want to say for you, because obviously the world, I told Sway this morning, was changed by Never Would Have Made It, in my opinion. But it was the best in me. Then that came out, and he has his hands on you. You Are God Alone, which is one of my favorite songs ever. Like, it wasn't.
I recorded that 20 plus years ago. You can't be that old.
She isn't, but she started listening in the womb. That's what happened, Marvin.
No, I'm of a certain age, but I'm just saying your music, you have a generation of people, and I think Lil Wayne kind of hit it on the head. That was his way, or our way, I guess, of expressing to you. Like, you have a generation of people that I don't know if you may have thought about this, who I'm trying to reach when this comes out, or as I record this, or who's going to end up hearing this. That is what happens with you. Like, whether you at your auntie's house or your grandmother's house or whatever, or you sitting down talking with a friend, when your music comes on, you just stop and you listen, and you get into it. The process of it, though, for you, like your wife had to convince you to go in. Is it just a lot of times you just being moved by the Spirit and words come, or is it you being in the studio? Like, when do you feel like you're most effective in terms of like the songwriting process of it for you?
Well, honestly, all of my hit songs have been moments. The Never Would Have Made It, that was a moment.
That moment.
It happened on Sunday morning in a worship service after, at the beginning of the worship service after my father passed. Best in Me, another song that I wrote in a moment. A preacher was actually at my church talking about David and talking about how it's amazing how, when the prophet Samuel came in and to look for a new king, how he looked at all of David's brothers, and the prophet had to ask David's father, Jesse, "Do you got any more kids, bro?" And he said, "Yeah, I got that boy out there in the field, that ruddy dude.
In the field. Yeah.
Smells like, sheep dung, and he's dirty and all this kind of stuff. Bring him in." And he said, it's amazing how even when family members don't see your qualities, God does. And I started singing He Saw the Best in Me when everybody else around me can only see the worst. And it was a moment. So, but it also happened at the particular time when my pastor, my mentor, Bishop William C. Abney, he died around that same time. Strangely enough, I tell people this all the time. I don't know if I want any more hit songs, because every time I write a hit, I got to take one. And I don't know if I want to take any more hits, I'm like, I'm good. People are enjoying Never Would Have Made. They enjoy Destiny. My song, My Testimony, which was another hit.
Oh,
I wrote
beautiful.
that
Yes.
I wrote that right after my wife passed away, maybe 2 months after she passed.
I see
And,
what you mean.
the words are, so if you see me cry, it's just a sign that I'm still alive. I may have some scars, but I'm still alive. So, I mean, like, my music, it's all based out of personal experiences. But I learned something, y'all, and I learned this. And it took me years to learn this. I learned that God trusts some people with trouble. I've learned it. And I've learned that because he's trusted me with trouble, he knows that I'm not going to take that trouble and hoard it, hide it, or act like I've never been through anything. But I'm man enough to be transparent about my flaws, to be transparent about my issues, my struggles, as well as to share them through my music, because that's what transforms lives. What transforms lives is individuals' ability to be able to say, especially those of us who name the name of Christ, those of us who are preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ, we need to show scars. And we need to say, yeah, you know what? I'm not up here perfect. I'm preaching a perfect gospel, but I'm an imperfect individual. So with me doing that, it's helped to really shape who I am as an individual, but most importantly, shape my musical message as well.
Marvin Sapp, my gosh, man. Give that man
Wow.
a round of applause. Come on. We were just talking about that today.
Yes.
Woo, come on. And
Yes.
let me ask you, with that said, because people think, a lot of times, and I've been guilty of it, we have certain expectations of pastors, right? And we constantly see these headlines, some pastor slept with somebody's wife, another pastor is getting, just vulgar photos found on the phone. We saw a pastor who was just robbed on a live stream last week, and then stories about that pastor came up about him ripping off, other patrons in his church and all of these different things. How do you cope with those? You mentioned like the church getting a lot of bad rap. When you see those pastors, how do you process that? How do you process the forgiveness, or what are your thoughts about that?
Sway, that's easy. That's that pastor. That's not all pastors.
Okay.
And I think what ends up happening is we end up labeling everybody for the mistake of one. And what we need to learn how to do is we need to learn how to assign that issue to that individual. And this is what kills me. What kills me is when people see stuff like that and they make these statements. That's the reason why I don't go to church. Well, the truth of the matter is you wasn't going to church anyway. That's the truth. Stop sitting here lying, making like you don't go to church.
That's why I don't go.
No, you wasn't going before that pastor. You didn't even know that pastor. You don't know nothing about that preacher. But you wasn't going to church anyway. Yeah. So what we have to learn how to do is we have to learn how to, for the sake of a better word, compartmentalize those individuals. That's what I do. I'm like, look, first of all, the Bible says all of us have sinned and come short of the glory of God. His responsibility or her responsibility as preacher, teachers of the gospel of Jesus Christ is to live a life to the best of their ability. But the truth of the matter is that because they are in that position, they're going to be attacked even more than you because of the simple fact that the goal of the enemy is to try to get you to look at them and say, okay, if God can't keep them, he sure can't keep me either. So it gives us excuses for not doing what we are supposed to be doing. But our relationship with God, our relationship with Christ is supposed to be an individual thing. So even if you mess up, that don't give me a right to. And that's how I view it. And that's how I teach my people at the church that I pastor in Fort Worth, Texas. So if you got any listeners in Fort Worth, Texas, I need y'all to come and check me out at the Chosen Vessel Church in Fort Worth. 4650 Campus Drive. Just come hang out with me. We started 11 o'clock, get out at 1. I just had to throw my little commercial out there. But you know what I want? But I want everybody to understand that every individual has a personal responsibility to live their life the way they are supposed to live it in the sight of God. And if I see somebody, I'm a Galatians 6 guy. And this is what the Bible says in Galatians. It said, if you see someone overtaken with a fault, those of us who are spiritual are supposed to restore them in a spirit of meekness, considering yourself, lest you fall to that same temptation. In other words, I'm showing grace and mercy to an individual that makes a mistake, falls, however you choose to term it. And the reason being is because, but for the grace of God, that could have been me. I could be in that same situation. So I made a decision a long time ago that I'm never going to sit in judgment of any individual. You know, I may not like the stuff they do. I may think it's stupid, to be perfectly honest with you. Some stuff that I see, I'm like, y'all just flat out dumb. I wouldn't be showing all my junk just simply because of the IRS. I just don't understand, you know, some of the things that we do in the pulpit and in the pews. But with that being said, you know, you should show grace, you should show mercy, because, you know, as God has forgiven us, we ought to forgive others.
Listen, Marvin Sapp is here. Real quick, I know you got to go, but I have to have at least 2 callers. People been waiting all day to ask you a question. Are you okay with that?
I'm cool with it. Come on.
Okay, cool. And then before I get to those callers, we're going to do a Good News Thursday concert. And I've been saying for about 1.5 years that you're on my list, on my bucket list. When we arrange this, man, that's all. You down to do it?
I'm down. Let me know. I get there.
You hear that, Heather? Come on,
I
man.
do
Marvin
hear it.
Sapp, you're going to be the first one we come to. All right. Listen, let me get to the phone lines real quick. We got Elizabeth from Texas. Real quick question, quick answer, Elizabeth. Go for it.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Pastor Sapp. I tried to call earlier today. Thank you for the shout-out anyways. However, Mr. Sapp, I know you've been through a lot of trials and adversity in life, but my question to you is, we all have heroes in this world. Who is your biggest hero and who inspires you?
Honestly, my biggest hero and who inspires me, I have 3 of them. One of them's name is Marvin Lewis Sapp II. The other one's name is Michaela Berenice Sapp. And the last one is Madison Grace Sapp. I'm going to tell you a story very quick. When their mother passed, the day after their mother passed, I had been up all night sleeping, crying and tossing and turning. And I hear a rustling around my house at around 6 a.m. And I come out my bedroom, and it's my kids, the day after their mother died, getting ready to go to school. I asked my baby girl, who was 11 at that time, I said, Madison, what are y'all doing? And she said, we're getting ready to go to school. I said, well, you all don't have to go to school today because Mommy just went home to be with the Lord yesterday. My daughter said these words, never forget it. She said, no, Daddy, Mommy would want us to keep it moving. That was a statement that my wife would say every morning while the kids were getting ready for school. Let's keep it moving, kids. Keep it moving, children. Keep it moving. That day, I jumped in the shower, washed my face. And my kids are my superheroes because I would have gave up. I would have threw in the towel. But the fact that they were able to keep it moving after losing something and someone who was so very important, that's the reason why we are as strong and wise as we are today, because we just made a decision to honor her by living and keeping it moving. So my kids are my superheroes.
Thank you, Elizabeth. You're a citizen. Thank you for that
Sway in
question.
the morning.
Jay in Boston, quick question. Go ahead.
Hey, Sway, what's up, man? What's up, family? Hey, Marvin Sapp, I did a show with you. I used to sing contemporary gospel up in Boston, and we opened up for you at New Covenant Christian Center. It had to have been over 20 years ago, man. We opened up with Question Is, and we killed it. But you came right behind us, man, and you just shut the whole show down, man. It was amazing, man. And I just wanted to call and just to talk to you, man, just to hear your voice and give you props, man. And your song, man, is right up there with, for me, it's right up there with Kurt Franklin and Lance.
I guess not.
What's his name?
You don't remember the title.
It is Lance.
Something about the name of Jesus.
Something about the name of Jesus. Thank you, HB.
Right.
So those 2 songs I keep on repeat, man, in my house, man. But I just wanted to give you your props, man, and just bring that memory back if you remember at all. But I just remember that it sticks out to me, man. Out of all the shows I used to do with, from Kurt Franklin, Fred Hammond, all of them guys, man. But I love you guys, man. I love what y'all do, man.
Love you too, man.
Love you too.
Keep doing what you do.
Hey, wait, hold on. Let Marvin say
Thank-
something to you. Let Marvin say something to you so you can hear his voice. Go ahead, Marvin.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. I mean, I remember coming up to Boston back in the day doing commission days and also
Right.
coming up there doing the outdoor gigs too, man, when we used to do the outdoor park gigs. So, yeah, it brings back great memories. And thank you so very much, man, for making me reflect and remember.
This is my last caller. Jay, you a citizen. We got Terry from
A
L.A. on the
Sway
line.
in the morning. What
Terry
up, T?
Ring the bell, man! Boy, y'all got me out here at work ringing the bell, but I had to stop work to talk to Mr. Sapp. Come on!
Go ahead. This our brother. This our spiritual brother T. He from L.A. Marvin, and so he
Yeah.
calls in every day, man. Say there he is, man. T, what up?
Hey, what's going on, homie? You hear that? I'm here at work, so I had to stop work just to talk to you. You know what? I don't even have a question anymore because you answered it, because I never understood how a man can sing such spiritually related songs that keyed to every worry, woe, and teardrop that was coming through people's eyes. Hit big gun, copy that. So I just want to tell you, thank you for everything you've done. Me and my buddy Brian out here getting this money, and I just want to tell you, keep praising God, because we are following you. From the hip-hop streets to the prison
Yep.
walls to the gutters to the hood, everything you play, man, got a
Come
brother
on.
with tears in his eyes, man. And I'm a G about it, bro. Thank you so much, and God bless you, man. God bless you for everything you
friend.
do.
Thank you. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
T, I'll talk to you. We in L.A. last week of August. We'll be broadcasting in
We'll see
L.A.
you
Come
soon,
up to the
T.
show. See you soon, brother. You're a citizen.
I'll
Sway in
be
the
there.
morning.
Love you.
Love you
Love
too.
you.
Oh, there you go, man. He got it. Yo, Mr. Sapp, man. And listen,
Yes.
this is just a prelude to I hope hopefully many conversations with you.
Yes.
I want to encourage people to watch the movie. We didn't get into it a whole lot because I didn't want to, spoil the surprises.
You don't want to spoil it. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, but as a youth, this man was off the chain. And but he went through some things that you may be surprised, because a lot of us in our community go through them when it comes to family division, what he experienced as a young man, and moving forward, and all the miracles that's happened in his life, and then all the hits that have happened in his life. It's well done. Salute to Russ Parr. Russ Parr is one of my heroes in radio, and salute to him. And Marvin Sapp, thank you, man. Thank you for agreeing
thank
to
you.
do our Good News Thursday concert series, where we bring in spiritual music along with what we do in this culture. And I'm just, I'm committing to him right now, Heather B. Thank
I
you.
love
Thank
it.
you, Mr. Sapp,
Thank
for
y'all
agreeing
so
to do
much,
that.
man.
All right?
Y'all
Okay?
have a great one.
You too, brother. Absolutely. Marvin Sapp. God bless
bless.
you, man. Marvin Sapp, man.
Wow. This was
Sway in the
big
morning.
today, man.
Yeah, man. I don't listen. We gonna let some music play, HB, and just kind of saccharin what just happened right now.
Got to.
We got to do that, man. We'll be right back. Sway in the morning, Shade 45, have the B and Tracy G. Come on.